All right, so our second episode of Pints to Pasta. I love it. So this week we're going to talk and discuss backpacking through Europe and how our kids are begging us to go and why we don't want them to go because we did it like 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
And survived.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that episode, I decided to make us a special pasta, casa rece, which is casa homemade pasta. That's the Italian name. You'll see it's like a S-shaped pasta. It's very similar to homemade. You can imagine they're wrapping the pasta around in the kitchen when they're making it. The concept here is that wrap captures the sauce and it bakes into the pasta for a delicious meal. Now, what I made was a casa rece, a ragu amare. So it's pork. So what I did, just so you know, to prepare this, so you know what you're eating before you do it. I basically cooked the pasta a bit, right, just to make it a little bit soft in the water with olive oil, a little bit of salt. I cooked the sauce. Now, I use my mom's sauce. Me, my mom, and my dad, as you know, we make homemade sauce every year. And, most people, when they see homemade sauce, they try to cook it like within an hour. It's not going to work like that because really all it is just tomatoes cured, right? Yeah. So what I usually do is I take that sauce, I put it in, simmer it for a while. But what I did was I cooked it with pork. So I sliced pork in it, heated up the pasta with a little bit of olive oil, and the fat from the pork blends into the flavor of the sauce.
Pork sausage.
You got it.
Yeah.
And then when that pasta is not quite done, but soft, I then cook it. You basically cook it in the sauce. So what ends up is this texture that looks like you've taken homemade sauce. There's absolutely no paste in this. No sugar, no paste. Taken the sauce. I've cooked the pasta in the sauce as if it's boiling water, right? Mm-hmm. Now what it does is it bakes the sauce into the pasta. So now you're going to have that rich texture. So try that. Tell me what you think. That's good, right? That is tasty. Plus, the sausage is cooked in it. You can't go bad with that. So, this is what we're going to eat in today's episode while we talk on the dock. And by the way, I want to welcome you to our new studios. We actually have a dedicated studio. So this is our first episode there. So, looks good?
Amazing.
Okay, so tell me what you brought. And now, why did I choose this? I know I'm going long. Is because when we went backpacking ourselves, we had a big stop, 2-week stop in Italy.
That's right.
And we stayed in southern Italy, where this is from Sicily, but popular in southern Italy, like Calabria. Mm-hmm. We were in Calabria for like a week. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, this was one of the pastas when we did the Mezzogosto. We were in the mountains with all my family, and then we had like millions of food.
Yeah.
This is one of the pastas. And this reminds me of that homemade.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I picked this. Now, you tell me, what did you do for the pint?
Well, this week, it was funny because we were going to talk about backpacking through Europe. So we had the best time.
Nice.
And the things we did, you'd never get away with today. But I recall after we went to Calabria, we went all over Europe, by the way. But when we left Calabria, we ended up in Corfu. If you remember that.
I remember that. That was wild.
We went from Sweezy Brindisi over to Corfu by ship. We'll get to that later.
And that's why our kids aren't going.
But it was funny because... and we'll talk about this later, how we bumped into people from back home in different places around the world.
Amazing.
Totally by fluke. It was amazing. But on the beaches of Corfu, they were so beautiful. The water was turquoise. You could see down like 20 feet starfish. It was beautiful. And I remember being out one day, hot. You and I were jogging on the beach after the volleyball thing. And some Greek guy carrying a cooler, and I was dying of thirst, and he opens it up. And I think he was selling these. I forget what was the currency back then, in crowns or?
No, yeah, actually, but that was before the euro. So
whatever. But anyway, it was
like
50 cents or whatever back then, and it was Lowenbrow. And I tried it. And I chugged a beer. So imagine 100 degrees out,
hot Greek sun,
thirsty as heck,
Corfu on the beach,
and this was the beer. And,
nothing more refreshing.
I was walking through the El Seville today, and I saw this. So Lowenbrow. It's a light, citrusy kind of. Summertime beer.
All right, let's crack it open. Make our pour. Okay, you're better than me. I keep thinking this is a Guinness. No head. But see what I tell you? I always get head. That's what makes me happy.
Some men are luckier than others.
Cheers. Hold on. Okay, so let's take this out to the dock, and we'll have our episode there.
Great.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, my friend. Nice, eh?
Oh, it's
This is
beautiful.
the studio.
A little hot at your beach house. Beautiful.
Yeah, but we'll do. I'll take some sun. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about today was like my daughter, you know, Laura, she's graduating her master's, and first thing she says to me is, Dad, I don't want to go to work right away. I want to backpack and travel quite a bit.
Nice.
And then I thought about you because you just went through that
With Katie.
with Katie, right? Yeah. And then it reminded me of when we did it years ago. And my thought is like, I want to encourage them and say, yeah, it's the greatest experience. Like originally when she came to me, I'm like, yeah, totally. You got to do it. It's amazing. And then as I started thinking about the things we did, I questioned whether I even wanted to go. You know, like that's what I thought we'd like maybe talk about those backpack trips, what happened, and maybe it could settle my nerves on how I decide on how I support her on this trip.
That was a big part of our growing up. You know, my daughter just went through it, Katie.
Yeah.
She went to Europe last year and she loved it. But funny story, I was so excited that she was going. I was very worried, but I had my my backpack from them. Remember?
Oh yeah, the Canadian one, the red ones. We had our flags on it and everything. Yeah,
because that was the thing to do back then. Anyway,
I still have mine, by the way.
Do you?
I still, when we go on trips, I still take, like, they have suitcases, the kids and my wife. I still take that backpack.
Oh yeah. So I pulled it out. Katie was leaving in a week. This was last summer, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go find that for her because it'd be cool for her to take my backpack. So I found it, but it was all covered in like dust and right. So stupidly, we had a new dryer.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'll stick it in, like I'll fold it because it has a metal frame inside. I'll stick it in, and it'll go around and wash.
You bent the frame to put it in?
But not bend it. I just kind of curved it, put it in the thing. Anyway, I sit down and I'm watching TV, and I hear something funny in the laundry room. And I go to the laundry room, I open it up, and I swear to God, the floor has that much water on it with bubbles. So I guess one of the straps caught in the drum, and it ripped. And the iron or the metal frame cut everything in the drum, like all the rubber. I screwed up our. So
oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway, I almost got divorced over that.
But did Katie get a backpack, or she bought her own? She bought her own. That makes total sense.
So that stuff in the dryer.
So that memory's gone. You don't even have that backpack. That was such a that backpack. I keep it today because it's got so many memories from that trip. Yeah. I mean, listen. To be honest with you, it's one of the things in my life I'll never forget, right? Yeah. Me, you, Gabe, my brother, the three of us. Well, in fairness, you were like a brother in our family, right? Yeah, you know, you grew up, you were at our house eating meals all the time. So it was a natural, the three of us to go. But I mean, think about it. Could we even afford to go? I was still in university. Gabe was the one who had graduated, wanted to go. And you and I just decided we're going to go work our asses off, save as much money in the summer. And we took that last month and a half.
It was fun,
and we took that trip
when we landed in Amsterdam. Right out of the airport, we took a bus or a train to
right downtown,
and you bumped into two guys that you went.
I mean, actually, well, listen, it was funny. I went to McGill, and that was like my second year, and we get off the plane. It wasn't just there. Amsterdam, Lourdes, Greece. I kept running into people from school.
That's crazy.
And we would randomly we didn't plan or whatever. We'd walk across the street and the guy, I remember the first guy, he was the goalie for our soccer team. He just looked up and said, hey, buddy. That happened. That showed you how small the world was. Like no matter where we were, I was running into, we were running into people from McGill, but we also ran into people from high school. Like it was just crazy.
Well, in Corfu, we went to the Pink Palace.
Yeah.
And you met another two guys from McGill that were running it.
Exactly.
That, and then I went for a walk.
Who were my flag football from the winter before. I mean, if you remember, like our first stop in Amsterdam, we get there, three of us, we had never really done anything like this. We walk off the train, walk to a bar. Yeah. The bar has a room just on top of it.
Yeah.
So we rent this room on top of a bar in the red light district.
Yeah.
First thing the guy asked us, how much pot, how much beer. I mean, it was just this craziness just right out the door.
Yeah.
And then I always remember this. We were like, guys, we're here we're not going to spend any money. No live sex shows, no nothing. We walk out 2 steps, live sex show. Boom, we're in. Now, it was quite the disappointment. It was quite the disappointment, but it was just one of those trips. And
So Accouchon, you were in Accouchon?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you remember right, I don't know if you remember this. I thought it'd be so cool. Before we went on our backpacking trip, I bought a pair of Adidas Gazelles. And anyone knows what Adidas Gazelles are? Like, they're suede running shoes. Cool looking. But they're not optimized for bare feet. You need to have socks. But here I am, not wearing socks and having these Gazelles. By the time we got to Accouchon, you were so pissed because my feet stunk like crazy.
And he'd get on the train, and I'd be across from him, and he'd put his feet next to me on the thing, and all I could, it was like old blue
sweaty.
Cheese.
And I was like, fuck you, they don't smell. But now,
like,
now I'm thinking about it, it's so funny.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah, I did a whole month of that.
Yeah. And then the other part, at Accouchon was like, we're here with 3 guys. We never been to like Europe in the summer backpacking. And every beach we went to, and the first one was it was actually in Holland. Yeah. We go to the beach, just not thinking. We get to the beach and every woman is topless. I'm beautiful. Like, oh my God, we've died and gone to heaven. It was like, we go in the water up to our chest, looking at it's crazy.
Actually,
I just couldn't believe it. All it was topless women
I had
everywhere.
to go to these 2 beautiful blonde Holland Dutch girls. And I walked up, and most people in Holland and Germany and stuff can speak English. And I introduced myself, and I said, my friends back home are never going to believe this. Do you mind if I get a picture with you? And they're like, yeah, no problem. So
that was Accouchon.
That was Accouchon. But we have pictures.
I should bring the picture up. There's a picture of you and Gabe. You're like, they sabotage. You have these huge smiles, and you're looking down at it. They're like, I can't believe this. It's so funny.
And it was nothing to them. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my God. That was crazy. Anyway, so to that point, even the beach in Accouchon, which is, again, Accouchon is a French beach town close to the border of Spain, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It was beautiful. A couple kilometer long sand dune, but you got to walk. There's stairs that go up it. It's like, I don't know, 100, 200 feet.
Oh, it's crazy.
Get over it. And then...
So, anyway. You had the main town, which was high-end, super high-end.
Yeah.
Beautiful beach, right? Yeah. Remember we were there? Again, topless women everywhere. And that night we had to decide where we're going to stay. And in backpacking, we had tents. So there were campsites. I guess it was 20 minutes outside of it.
Yeah.
So you got on a bus. We get to this campsite. We're thinking campsites. We get to this campsite.
It's amazing.
This campsite's got a restaurant, a bar, a nightclub, and then it was like a campsite on steroids. You remember that?
And it was like a big bonfire and like 100 people dancing, and it was just so fun. But anyway, we woke up the next morning.
But hey, what about that night with me and the German family?
Oh, that's right.
Tell that story, because I was so drunk. You're the one that always tells me that story.
How did that happen? You ended up, they brought you back or something?
No. Like we were sitting, and I decided to walk and sit down with a couple with their daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually thought the daughter was attractive, but I was just friendly to the couple, and they were like super hospital, and we drank all night together, and I got hammered with that family. Remember? And you kept coming back. Are you okay? You okay?
Yeah, but then we ended up, I don't know what happened, but we woke up the next day and we couldn't find you.
Wow.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So Gabe's like,
I was
like for 3 hours.
We because the family left me. Again, it's a blur. I don't even know. After sitting down talking to them, I just know the stories you told me. I really have no recollection to tell you found me.
Your brother's like, what am I going to tell my parents? I lost them. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, we go, well, let's go to the beach. So then we walk up, and we walking along the sand dune, and there's like a lump. And you're lying there naked on the sand dune. That was so funny.
I don't know how I got naked, what I was doing there, but I just ended up like, again, that was, another story. Like, it was a great time, great experience, but not something I would want my kids to do.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The things I'm going to worry about, right?
Yeah. I never want my kids to leave home. Right.
You and I, we sleep in the train station, which was common, all night. And if I remember that, I used to have this billy club that, again, perfect story. Every time we went to sleep, we'd say...
We call it a shillelagh.
Yeah. Well, let's tell the story, because the rule was 2 of us would sleep, 1 would stay awake, and you had that club. So I
also bought a switchblade.
I don't sleep much, but I remember staying awake for 3 or 4 hours. Gabe stayed awake for 3 hours. Then it was your turn.
Yeah.
We go to sleep. I wake up, you're asleep with your billy club all the time. You never stayed awake.
Yeah.
So this is my point. Like, when Katie went last year, the difference is
the difference is my daughter loves gourmet cooking and stuff. She would have never survived.
Yeah, like
doing it
here's
our
what
way.
I'm saying.
Never.
When we went backpacking, our parents were like, hey, go ahead, but you have no money. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Now when our kids go backpacking, it's not just, Dad, can you give me some money? And Dad, well, I can't stay at a hostel. And they're not going to sleep in the train station. They're going to want to stay at resorts and eat at restaurants. So it's like night and day from what we did. You know what I mean?
Katie did save her own money, and she did stay at some hostels. But Katie's a bit of a homebody too. So she liked, you know.
I just can't see my daughters, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
Sleeping at train stations. On the floor like we did, right? I mean, for us, we loved it because we met people. We we had so many experiences that people we traveled with were. But for our kids, I mean, and also
we're not going to get raped.
Yeah. Well, no. The other thing is, we see, you know, and maybe we grew up with zero. Like, yeah, we had stress and stuff, but we didn't have like crazy anxiety. So like. Talking to people, meeting people was like just an easy thing.
Yeah.
Like for our kids, I just feel like with the anxiety and stress, especially with social media, like it's just harder for them to meet people, or you know. So part of me wants them to do a trip like this because it's going to force them to like just get rid of the anxiety and just meet a boatload of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what I find interesting is that I make sure that all my even today when they're not traveling is. I want to know when you leave, when you come back. I check in on them. Jen checks in on them. My wife checks in on them. We went to Europe.
Yeah.
We never got one phone call.
Oh, we couldn't. Back then, there were no mobile phones, whatever.
No,
like, you were gone, you were gone.
We sent one postcard, and that was it. And it's just a different world we live in, eh? Like, you worry about everything. And I'm sure our parents worried, but, you know, it's a bit different, right? So.
Well, they had, you know, the problem is we're so connected that if we don't see them, we wonder where are they? Because our parents weren't connected, they just didn't have that worry.
Yeah, true.
So part of it, a lot of it's us.
They wanted us to go.
Yeah, my mom and dad were like, oh, hey, if you're paying, go. We get the whole house to ourselves.
Yeah, it was all good. And then we did so many things. Remember Italy?
Of course, yeah.
So this is a funny story. We got to Italy to his parents' hometown called Paterno.
Paterno.
Which is in the
southern part by Calabria. Little town, top of the mountain. Very close, all in the it's Calabria, but all in the Cosenza region.
Yeah, so we have this ongoing thing where we try to get each other in trouble, kind of thing, as a joke. And so the first time we went to get gas, number one, what happened there? Remember?
Yeah, so we're sitting in the back. So you got to envision this. It's a Fiat 500. My aunt and uncle, who are big, stocky people, sitting in the front. Me in the middle, because I'm the smallest, between Andrew and my brother in the back seat. And we're driving a far way. We stopped for gas. And we're saying to get Andrew, me and my brother, hey, when they open the thing to say hi, say "Chi cazzo fai," which in Italian is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But he has no idea. And
but you also said, do it in a way, like a stern way.
Yeah. So they open the window and he jumps out from the back seat, this big guy, "Chi cazzo fai?" And the guy jumps back, like, what the? And my aunt and uncle look like, what the hell?
What are you doing? What are you
doing?
It
was so funny.
That's good.
And I think the second time was, we were always making fun of you, like, because you couldn't speak Italian. When, that's right. When we landed, we got to the town, everyone was in the mountains for a big festival. Ferragosta, yeah. And their neighbors, my nana, my aunt's neighbors, were there. Husband, wife, and daughter. And they put us in the car, and they were driving us. And you were going on and on.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
how old were we there?
Well, we were like 21, 22.
Okay, this girl, the daughter, was like 18, and she looked like a young Sophie Loren.
So
I'm telling you.
Needless to say, he's going on and on about
in English, because I think they can't hear or can't
on and on about how hot she is, and we're trying to get him just to shut up. Keeps going on and on and on. And then what did that?
First you said, "Don't, Andy, whatever you do not hit on any girls in Calabria."
Exactly. They're either going to be friends or family, so please avoid it. And but you wouldn't stop.
I thought it was so sly.
And then what did the mom say? She turned around.
No. So when we got up, we were laughing, and you're like, "Shut up, shut up." So we get up there, and they drive us up to where the Petrovalas are, and she in Italian, she says, "Nice to meet you," to Dave and Gabe, and then she turns to me and grabs my hand. And she goes, "It was really in English. It was very nice to meet you. I was a nurse in America for 7 years in plain English."
and his face goes beet red.
Oh,
beet
man.
red. We had to be there a week. They had to deal with that for a week.
And all I could say was, does her dad know English? Does her dad know English? I thought I was going to get shot.
Oh, that was funny. Great.
We took
think about how much
that bath in the fountain.
Yeah, like, you know, I think about like San Remo.
Yeah.
We get there. There's no hotel we could afford. Yeah. We sleep in the middle of the main park, and we wake up. Our alarm clock was what? Do you remember how we got woken up?
The
police kicking us in the ribs to get up.
Yeah.
And I remember that one night we went out. So we get there. We have no place to stay. We take our backpacks and we're hiding them in the trees. Remember, we were pushing them into the trees, and these trees were on an edge to where there was a beach, and we didn't think about it.
But the beach was 100 feet down.
Yeah. So we're pushing. Let's get further and further. Next thing you know, woof, the backpacks are gone.
And we look down, and there's a couple making out. And I swear to God, the bag.
Each backpack just missed their heads.
They would have been dead. We would have been, Mom, I'm in jail.
Oh, that was hilarious. But again, we went, like, the things we did. We got the backpacks, hid them. We went out. If you remember that night,
I do.
We went out and we met people, and they took us to like these exclusive, like Rolling Stone clubs, nightclubs. We were out all night.
Yeah.
All night. And that was sort of like, if I think back, I can't remember the details because, you know, we were so gone. But what I do remember is the next morning, the policeman kicking us in the ribs.
Yeah.
You and I being so hungover. All I could think of, I was. All I could think of was like, I got to clean up. And all I could see, if anyone's been to San Remo, in the main park, there's that big fountain.
Yeah.
I literally got up, took off all my clothes, stripped down to my underwear. Remember?
Yeah.
I walked right into the fountain and showered into the fountain. As you know,
San Remo got arrested because you brought soap out, and then all soapy. And they're like, "What are you doing? This is a tourist town."
Oh, but we had such a good time.
We started the tourist hatred, by the way.
Yeah. When people hate tourists, is because we, some of the stuff we did.
Well, actually, our tradition was every country that we went to, and you should tell this story. Every country we went to, we'd drink their liquor or beer or wine. So
whatever was local. Yeah,
whatever was local. So in Holland, we did like schnapps and
that's right.
We did wine in France, and then in Italy, when we landed in Italy, we you tell the story. We already did wine, so we thought we'd drink beer. We got Peroni. Remember, we each got a case of Peroni.
And the one when we went to the Vatican.
And this is he told this speech at my wedding, actually.
That's hilarious. Story. Yeah, so we were in Rome. And Rome's an amazing town, right? So we go out, we buy a case of Peroni each, and we're drinking. And this is like, Sunday, like this is like I think maybe Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember the day exactly. But we're drinking and we're hammered. And if anyone's been to Rome, no matter what you do, all streets lead back to the Vatican.
All roads lead to Rome.
Yeah. So, listen, I'm an Italian Catholic. He's Irish Catholic. He claims to be a better Catholic than me. And in fairness, he wanted to be a priest when he was younger, and he's very religious. I'm religious, but not. I admit he's much more stringent than me. So sure enough, we show up at the Vatican. We got a case of beer each, and sure enough, there's crowds of people, and the Pope is walking through the streets.
No, he's in the Pope-mobile coming.
Yeah, he's coming up through the streets, and Andrew's like, oh my God. So he runs,
freaking out.
He freaks out, and hides behind a pillar. He doesn't want the Pope to see him.
Drunk.
I'm sitting there drunk with my Peroni between my legs, right? Just trying to stand up. And I'm like, listen, I'm here. I'm going to do it. Pope comes up to me. What does Andrew see? He sees the blessing. Pope goes away. He comes running.
I'm so mad.
What did you say to me?
I said, I can't believe you're half the Catholic I am. And you just got blessed by the Pope? And you're drunk?
Yeah, so I looked at him and said, listen, relax. It wasn't quite what you think. Pope came up to me. He said, your case of beer, and your friend behind the pole, get the fuck out of here.
True story.
Maybe the fuck wasn't in there. But anyway.
So that's the big thing I worry about.
Actually, if you remember in Paris, we just couldn't afford to stay there.
No.
We stayed the day, and we decided we got to get out of here and go somewhere cheaper.
Yeah, but we went to Accouchon.
Yes.
Which is beautiful.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of stories there.
Yeah.
Man, you got to think about Corfu. The shit we did there, like...
you know what? I hope my daughters don't do this.
Yeah, I mean...
They never... Excuse me. But we remember that I almost died? We went out to that rock. They had a boat that took us out.
A couple things. We did the parasailing, where the guy hooked us up we're like going around, and then he fucking crashed us. He missed the dock and just dragged us across the dock.
I'm thinking we didn't even have health insurance, like,
man,
or medical coverage to be in Europe. We went rock. So there was this rock, and it had to be the height of 2 telephone poles. Like, it was high, and we jumped off, right? And back then I didn't have a fear of heights or anything.
You had to climb the rock. Forget about jumping off was easy, but like you had to climb and scale this thing.
But I get up there and I jump off, and I didn't realize I've never jumped from that high before, and I didn't realize you're supposed to tense your body and go in like a point.
Well, right? We were drunk too, right?
Yeah, so that didn't help. We were doing shotguns through our face masks. Anyway, I landed. And the impact of my legs, my knees, remember, it knocked me out.
And then all the blood everywhere.
And you pulled me out. You said I would have died.
You owe me. I saved your life a few times. I saved your life a few times on that trip.
No, that was funny. And then,
and there's, if you in the beginning you see some clips of us on those motorcycles. Think about it. We rent them. We're on the island of Corfu. No shirt, no shoes,
nothing, no helmet.
Flying, and we were like flying across time, and
they went 70 miles an hour.
But if you remember, I had the fastest one, and you guys. So
I was so mad.
So Gabe was like Mr. Conservative. He's in insurance, so he didn't want to get in an accident. You were so pissed,
so competitive,
and you wanted to switch, and I wouldn't switch you. Remember, I'd slow down till you could catch up to me, and I would take off.
I just remember if we wiped out. Like there was a couple times where we went around a curve. And
with cars coming and we're like weaving,
and we had no shirt, nothing. We'd
been dead. Yeah, I know. But back again.
Oh man, we would have had road rash.
But that was a great. Remember that bike ride? We went across that island. We stopped in like a craft shop. I always remember.
I have pictures of that.
Remember that craft shop? I said to the guy, I go, man, you live in paradise. He looked at me. He goes, where are you from? I said, Canada. He goes, buddy. You live in paradise.
I know.
I mean, the life, he kept saying, the life you have is and he was right. I mean, I remember that. I always remember that statement.
You know what? It is true. And my daughters know this too. You go all over the world thinking it's better. But man, at the end of the day,
we live in an amazing country. Like, I love Europe, but like Canada, like look where we are right now. This is like a daily thing, right? Yeah. We live a great life.
And even back then though, too, it was like everybody who met the Americans, they thought they were cocky. But they would gravitate to us because we were Canadians. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember at the...
Well, that's why, everyone they tell you, put the Canadian flag on your backpack so you know you're Canadian.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Remember, what was the place we stayed in Corfu, the Pink Palace?
Yeah.
Remember the beer races? Again, so they had a team.
Oh, yeah.
They had boat races, and it was by country. So... what these Americans don't know is that we can drink beer.
We can drink beer. They were unassuming, but they didn't realize Canadians could drink beer.
We went through the boat. I think we were.
Remember, we put you at the anchor because we knew you're gonna do it because you had to do 2 to 2.
It was like an appetizer.
And like go. And I remember, and they were like on their second guy. We'd already finished the beer.
But before that, the Australian judge said, "Okay." Before we even started, he goes, "Okay. I just want to let you know when the Canadians win this is what you're going to win." And the Americans got so mad.
Yeah.
Thinking they're not going to win. We're Team USA. And we killed them. It was so funny.
That was a great, that was a great stop, Corfu. That was like a fun, and I've taken my kids to Corfu, to that beach 4 years ago.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. No, that was awesome.
But back then it cost us, what, $15 a night or something.
Honestly,
and with food.
I think we did the trip for $2,000.
Yeah.
If I think about everything in with food and stuff. Yeah.
Which is different. So our daughters, by the way, Katie's into gourmet stuff, so she wanted to go and experience the food and the seafood and stuff like that, which is great. She did that. And but she had a good time. She loved it. And she bumped into you, by the way, coincidence.
In Rome. Yeah. It was so funny. That's a hilarious story because I was going on a family trip. We were doing a cruise, like with my parents and everybody. And we land, get to the cruise first day, and my wife starts crying. Why? She had lost her wallet with her, and for some reason she decided she didn't want to leave anything in the house. So all her engagement rings, all her jewelry were in this wallet, and she had lost it. And that whole trip, she was just weighing on her. And when we left, I said, you know what? Screw it. I asked, where's the lost and found? So we were coming back through Rome. We go to lost and found. I said, can my wife, she lost her wallet, and they bring her in. She comes back. She left her wallet at Rome. So for the whole trip, it was gone. It was in Rome, and she got it back. Not a single thing was missing.
God bless her.
So I was like, God's watching over me. He basically got rid of my wife's credit card. She couldn't buy anything on the trip. It was the most cost-effective trip I've ever had. And she got everything back but the day we left. It was like awesome. And as we're coming out, we're in this amazing, great mood. There's Katie. Katie's sitting there. I go like, I know you. And it's Katie. Like, I couldn't believe it. She was coming home the same day as us.
Did you know that she lost her backpack on the way home?
I did not know that.
So where she flew to Rome, I guess it fell off the cart, but she had those air tags, and they traced it and came back, and all the gifts she put in it and everything, it wasn't touched either.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
To your wife's story, about 2 months ago, Jennifer, my wife, lost her wallet. Or her credit card? Did you hear about this?
No. Is that what your wife told you?
Yeah, I didn't report it because the guy who stole it is spending less than she is. So, it's true. Anyway,
listen. This is great because, as we talk about these stories, the one thing I can say is like, yes, crazy, wild kids, but honestly, at the end of the day, I hope my daughters have those experiences, and I think it's the best thing that could be for them because it's going to help them grow. Like, it's that struggle, that experience that helps them grow, and like us, it's memories. Like, that's like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And the memories are still vivid, and I want my kids to have those same memories.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe I should ask if I can go with them.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife gives me a little preview and say I'm backpacking with my daughters. Exactly. What do you think?
Awesome.
Anyway,
that's a
buddy,
dandy idea.
That is a dandy idea. I love it. Great job.
It is hot as a son of a bitch.
I love it. This is awesome. We will see you guys on the rebound at our new studios up here in Innisfil.
Cheers.